Up to 7.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chairperson, we can start. I think we are all here.
Okay, thank you, work coordinator. We can start with our meeting now. Let me welcome all of you by saying this, that feel very much welcomed in this meeting. I would also like to welcome all the officials who are here with us in this meeting, especially the divisional manager, Tulu Masobe. And I would also like to welcome the honorable members who are here with us, and thank you for joining this meeting. Let me also welcome our honorable MEC who has just joined us, Honorable Tandi Muraka, our Professor Mshwana, the director in the department, the CFO, the communication officer, Jenina Kaka, and all the members who are here feel welcomed, and this meeting is officially opened. Item number 2, we are going to introduce ourselves. I'll ask the honorable members to introduce themselves, but if there is a challenge, but I don't think there's any challenge. Honorable members, can you introduce yourselves before our MEC can introduce herself and the members of his department? Let me start by myself. My name is Matlodi Caroline Mantata Masela, the chairperson of this portfolio committee of sport, arts and culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Chair Salani, a member of the committee.
Thanks, Chairperson. My name is Matthew Violet, member of the committee.
Thank you. You are in.
Yes, I mean now.
Okay.
Greetings. I'm Manaman Muthala, the member of the portfolio committee.
Thank you, honorable member.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Nakedi Maria Lachanyani, a member.
Thank you. I think we have done with our introductions from the honorable members. Honorable MEC, may you please introduce yourself and the officials from your department. Thank you.
Good afternoon, the Honorable, the Chairperson of the committee, Mayor Caroline Mahasela, and to the members of the portfolio committee, including the staff component from the legislature and our officials from the department. Chairperson, thanks for the opportunity for me to introduce myself. My name is Thandi Muraka, the MEC for Sport, Arts and Culture in the Limpopo province. With me, I'm with the acting head of department, Mr. Professor Friday Mushwana, who will then take over from here and introduce the entire staff component who's here with us in this meeting. Prof, over to you.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chairperson Mayor Mahasela, committee members, greetings to you all. With me here, I'm with the manager in the office of the HOD, Betty Manka, the CD district, Veronica Mukhonyana, the CFO, Mr. Ngumla, also the communications manager, Jemina Kaka, the manager also in the HOD's office, Mr. Lisibana Muvundlela, also the chief director, corporate services, Mabori Mampa, also the manager in the district, Capricorn, Maboja Lucas, also the district head of Waterberg, Homu Thomas, and also the acting director in sports and recreation, Matebula Stella Kensani, also the director supply chain, Matsubane Matavane, manager in library and archives, Mihloti Mayevu, also the chief director arts and culture, Date Michael Muatsi, and the director infrastructure in the department, Kingsley Mujaji. Those are the colleagues whom I can see on the attendance list with me. Thank you, Chairperson. Thanks, MEC.
Thank you very much, HOD. Today I called you director, but I think there's no problem with it. Let's come to item number 3, which is briefing by the department on the following. 3.1, 2021 and 2022 first quarter performance report. So without wasting any time, I'm going to ask our Honorable MEC to brief us. Thank you, Honorable MEC. The time is yours.
Thank you once more, Honorable Chair and members, for the opportunity. I'm going to quickly request our acting HOD, Professor Friday Mushwana, to take us through the first quarter report for the financial year 2020-2021 for the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. I don't know, Chair, if you want us to quickly give you a brief of the report, or we must quickly deal with item 4 of questions and comments.
No, I think let's go through the report, because we could have read it, but when it comes from you as the department, that's where when you brief us, we'll understand what is going on.
Okay, thanks, Chairperson, for that directive. HOD, you have heard what the members are requesting. Let's go in brief on the quarterly report, then we'll then come back for the questions.
Thanks, Honorable MEC. Thanks very much, Chairperson, and honorable members and colleagues. My presentation outline will start with the performance overview. Then I will go into the performance report itself, and then we will deal lastly with the responses to the questions which were asked additional by the honorable members. The performance overview of the report. May I request Betty to flag the report, please? Secretariat, can you unshare your report so that she can share the presentation?
Please, for HOD, and maybe if I can ask, please just summarize.
I will be very brief, Chairperson. I will only emphasize on areas where we couldn't achieve. Where we have achieved, we will just browse through. But the summary of the performance in total is as follows. Betty, can you flag the report? But in the meantime, I will be presenting. Under program 1, which is administration, we had 6 indicators annually and 6 indicators for the quarter, and we managed to achieve 4 indicators, and with not achieved 2 indicators, which represent 67% achievement. Under Arts and Cultural Affairs, which is program 2, under sub-program Arts and Culture, we had 11 indicators for the year, and 8 indicators were planned for the first quarter, and only 1 indicator was achieved, with a non-achievement of 7 indicators, which represent 13%. Under museum services, we've got 2 targets for the year, 1 for the first quarter planned, and we achieved 1 that will be 100%. Heritage resource services, we've got 2 indicators for the year, with 1 planned for the first quarter and not achieved, which is a 0 performance. Under language services, we've got 2 targets for the year, 1 for the first quarter, and we achieved 1, and that represents 100% achievement. Under program 3, which is library and archive services. Under library services, we've got 6 targets for the year, but we didn't have any target for the first quarter, so nothing was done in the first quarter. Under archive services, we've got 3 targets for the year, and we planned 3 targets for the first quarter, and we achieved 3, which represent 100%. Program 4, which is sport and recreation. Under sports, program sport, we had 6 targets for the year. We planned 4 for the first quarter, and we achieved 4, which represent 100% achievement. Under recreation, sub-program recreation, we've got 4 targets for the year, and we planned 4 for the first quarter, and we achieved 2, which represent 50% achievement. Under school sport, we've got 5 targets for the year, and we planned 2 for the first quarter, and we only achieved 1, which represent 50%. For all in all, as a department, we have got 47 indicators. And in the first quarter, we planned to achieve 30 indicators, where we achieved only 17, and not achieved is 13, which represent a 57% achievement. That is the summary of the performance, Honorable Chair. But let me go to the nitty-gritties of the performance report, which start from program 1, which is administration. The first output indicator is the percentage of allocated budget spent. Out of a budget of 473 million, we planned to achieve 25% expenditure. We only achieved 20% expenditure, and the 5% underperformance or deviation is as a result of the moratorium placed on the filling of vacant position and slow progress on infrastructure projects. Going to the second indicator on administration is the percentage of valid invoices paid within 30 days. We planned to achieve 100% performance. We attain a 99.9% performance, which is almost 100%. The third indicator under program 1 is the number of asset management reconciliation performed. The target was 1 for the first quarter. We managed to do that. And the fourth indicator is the number of skills development interventions implemented. We planned to do 1, but we achieved 6. And the reason for overachievement is that we took advantage of the National Schools of Government free online courses, where we really encouraged our people to register and overachieved in that target. The fifth indicator under program 1 is the number of capacity building programs implemented. We targeted 2 for the first quarter, and we achieved 2. Number of employees, health and wellness programs implemented, we planned 1 and we achieved 1. The number of national days hosted, that is program 2, cultural affairs under sub-program arts and culture. The first indicator under that sub-program is the number of national days hosted. Our target for the quarter was 2, and we managed to do those, celebrate those national days. Number of social cohesion and nation building programs organized. We didn't have a target for the first quarter. I will move to the next target. It is the number of community conversation dialogue held to foster social cohesion. We had a target of 3. We only achieved 2, and the main reason is the COVID lockdown regulations affected the implementation of the social community dialogue. And the fourth indicator under that sub-program is the number of statutory and non-statutory bodies supported. We planned to support 3, but we didn't support any. In this case, honorable members, is that due to the suspension of our budget, this year we didn't have money to support our non-statutory bodies, but the 3 statutory bodies were paid something in March before the beginning of the financial year, which will be utilized in the current financial year. The next indicator, still under arts and culture, the 5th indicator is the number of practitioners benefiting from capacity building opportunities. The target for the quarter was 120. We only managed to do 51, and the reason being the COVID-19 restrictions on the number of people gathering. The 6th indicator is the number of artists promoted. Our plan for the first quarter was 350. We only managed to promote 55. And again, the reason is only a limited number of practitioners could be accommodated due to COVID-19 restrictions. The 7th indicator under this sub-program is the number of projects in the creative industry supported. We plan to support 2, we only support 1, and the reason again is the COVID-19 restrictions on the number of people gatherings. The next indicator is the number of provincial community arts development programs implemented per year, and there was no plan for the quarter. The next indicator is the number of artists placed in schools per year, and there was no planning for the first quarter. The 10th indicator under this sub-program is the number of local, national, and international market access platforms financially supported. We planned to do 1, but unfortunately nothing was done because all the markets were closed due to COVID-19. And the 11th indicator under this sub-program is the number of twinning agreements signed. We planned to sign 1 agreement in the first quarter, but unfortunately that will be signed towards the end of the second quarter because we had a challenge where the tree is located in terms of the ownership, and we were negotiating with the local traditional council there, but the problem has been sorted out, and the MOU will be signed towards the end of September or the middle of October. Moving to the sub-program Museum Services under still Program 2 Cultural Affairs. The first indicator there is the number of provincial museums infrastructures upgraded and maintained. We didn't have a target for the first quarter. The second indicator is the number of job opportunities created through arts, culture, and heritage programs. We planned 51, but we managed to appoint 53. This is due to the fact that there were some contracts which were extended, which had 8 individuals in relation to asset management, but it ended in July, and we came back and extended the contract for 6. The number of public awareness activations on the I Am the Flag campaign. The target for the first quarter was 1. Unfortunately, we didn't achieve that target. The challenge here is also the funding. This is a sector indicator, but unfortunately, when our budget was cut, we were cut to the bone to the extent that we couldn't even manage to service some of our indicators. The second indicator under Heritage Resource Services is the number of provincial resistance and liberation heritage routes site developed and managed. There was no target for the first quarter. The next is a sub-program Language Services, still under Cultural Affairs. And the first indicator there is the number of multilingualism promotion campaign hosted. We didn't have a target for the first quarter. So the second indicator is the percentage of documents received that are translated and edited. The target is to receive and do them all in a quarter, and that's what we basically did, achieve 100% performance. Moving to program 3, library and archive services, starting with library services. The first indicator there is the number of new library facilities built. We didn't have an indicator for the first quarter. The second indicator is the number of newly built modular libraries supported, and we didn't have a target for the first quarter. The third indicator is the provincial theatre phases implemented. We didn't have a target for the first quarter. The next indicator is the number of library maintained. We didn't have a target, and all the indicators in these sub-programs, we didn't plan anything for the first quarter. Moving to archive services under library and archive services program, the first indicator there is the number of record classification system approved. We targeted to approve 2, and indeed we achieved the 2. And the next indicator is the number of archive and records training conducted. We planned to conduct 1, and we conducted 1. And the next indicator is the number of oral history projects undertaken. We planned to do 1, and we actually did 1. Moving to program 4, sport and recreation, sub-program sport. The first indicator there is the number of athletes supported by the sports academies. We targeted 100, and indeed our sports academies supported 100. The second indicator there is the number of sport academies supported. We planned to support 6, and indeed 6 were supported. The third indicator there is the number of people trained to deliver on academy programs. The plan was 10, and we delivered 10. The next indicator there is the number of sport-focused schools supported through the academy. We planned to do 5, and indeed we achieved 5. The other indicators in these sub-programs, we didn't have any planned targets for the first quarter. Moving to the second sub-program under sport and recreation, sub-program recreation. The first indicator there is the number of schools, hubs, and clubs provided with equipment or attire as per the established norms and standards. We targeted 195, we achieved 308. The reason there is more clubs were supported to address backlogs emanating from the previous financial years. The second indicator there is the number of people actively participating in organized sport and active recreation.
We can't hear anything. I'm sure where the HOD is, there is a challenge of network.
Sorry, Chairperson, I think it's the network where I am. Unfortunately, I've changed from the Wi-Fi to the direct network point. I hope I won't be interrupted again. Sorry for that, Chairperson and honorable members. I was still under a recreation sub-program, and the third indicator there is the number of sport and recreation promotion campaigns and events implemented. We planned for 1, and we did 1. The next indicator there is the number of indigenous games clubs supported per code. We planned to do 4, but we didn't do anything. And the reason there is the suspension and cancellation of sport and recreation events to observe COVID-19 protocols, which restricted gathering for mass sport and activities at an alert level 3 and 4. As far as the Indigenous Games, honorable members, we did continue to have them the previous weekend, which is the 4th of September, and also the provincial one will be held on the 11th of September. So that target will be attended to. The next sub-program is school sport. The first indicator there is the number of learners participating in school and sport tournaments at the district level. We didn't have any planned activities in the first quarter. The second indicator is the number of learners participating in school sport tournaments at the provincial levels. There was no plan for the first quarter also. The third indicator is the number of learners participating in the National School Sport Champions. And there was no planned activities for the first quarter. The next indicator is the number of school sport structures supported. We plan to support 7, and indeed we supported the 7. The next indicator is the number of people trained to deliver school sport. We planned to train 237. We only trained 84. And the reason there is the suspension and cancellation of sport and recreation events to observe COVID-19 protocols. That is the last indicator, Honorable Chair. I don't know whether you would like me to go to the responses to the 6 questions which were given to us as supplementary to the first quarter report and to give those reasons. But as far as the performance information, I have completed the presentation of the first quarter activities.
Okay,
Your directive,
you may go on. You may go on, HOD.
Thank you very much. In the process, we received, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, supplementary questions to respond to in relation to the first quarter performance. And the first question was, what is the latest progress with regard to the provision and implementation of recovery plans by the IDT and the Department of Public Works, as requested by the department? And the response to that is that extension of time was granted due to the contractor's inability to obtain material from the suppliers or delays from the suppliers. Siliting Library contractor has been working extra hours to recover some time lost during strikes. The following progress was recorded as end of June 2021, as this relates to the first quarter. Siliting Library was at 95% completion. Runnymede Library was at 99% completion. Mulamula Library was at 57% completion. And Mabalani Library was at 72% completion. That is the answer to the first question. The second question reads as follows. Why did only 35 employees attend the health and safety sessions which were conducted online? And the response is that the health and safety awareness session was planned for the Capricorn district only in the first quarter. The district has 45 officials and 35 logged in for the virtual health and safety awareness event. And those who could not log in was in relation to the challenge of computers and also availability of data. The department has planned to host a similar health and safety awareness event for the remaining districts in the coming quarters. That is the response to the second question, honorable members. The third question is, what was the amount transferred to the Moral Regeneration Movement and the Limpopo Geographical Names Committee, and outline the purpose for the transfer? The response is as follows. The amount of 250 was transferred to Moral Regeneration Movement in 2020-21-22 financial year for the purpose of advising the Office of the Executive Authority on matters related to their respective areas, as well as implementation of the APP. This body was established in the province with the following functions: harnessing and supporting the energy and creative spirit of youth towards moral renewal, strengthening the family unit, combating poverty and reducing the inequality gap, combating the root causes of crime and corruption in all their manifestations, fostering greater religious tolerance and cooperation for moral renewal, ensuring that the electronic and print media carry positive stories of Moral Regeneration's Movement Committee, establishment of district working committees, mobilization of resources and mass participation of people. In relation to Limpopo Geographical Names Change Committee, the amount of 500 was transferred to the committee for the financial year 21-22 for the purpose of advising the Office of the Executive Authority on matters related to their respective areas, as well as implementation of the APP. The background is that in 1998, our democratic government enacted the South African Geographical Names Council Act 118 of 1998 that established the South African Geographical Names Council, which replaced the apartheid-era Place Names Committee. Section 2 and 3 of the South African Geographical Names Council Act provide for the appointment of the South African Geographical Names Council by the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. The South African Geographical Names Council was appointed by the Minister for the period of 3 years, 2019 to 2021, comprising of ministerial appointees and provincial chairperson of provincial geographical names committees. Provincial geographical names committees are established in terms of Section 2, subsection 2A of the same Act. They are established by the MEC of Sports, Arts and Culture after consultation with the South African Geographical Names Council. During early 2019, the Limpopo Department of Sports, Arts and Culture advertised for nomination for members of the Provincial Geographical Names Committee. Their responsibility is to receive geographical names standardization applications from government departments, provincial governments, local authorities, the South African Post Office, property developers, and any other body or persons, and recommended to the South African Geographical Names Council. Is also to advise municipalities on geographical names, that is, new names, names changes, names corrections, registration of long existing names or features, correct naming, etc. Again, their responsibility is to advise municipalities and work with them in ensuring that they apply the principle of the South African Geographical Names Council Act to the names under their jurisdiction. They are also supposed to work with municipalities to establish district and local geographical names committees. That is as Section 79 of the, or Section 80 of the Municipal Structures Act, subcommittee of the Municipal Council. The first question through you, Chairperson, is we were asked to explain what interventions are in place if COVID-19 restrictions are still applicable for the next quarters to address the challenge of promoting artists. And our response is as follows. Arts and Culture intends to look at the earmarked programs that are recurrent and are usually held every year, hosted by outside stakeholders, to try and promote our artists. And the programs, we're looking at programs like LIMAS, that is Limpopo Music Awards, Xitsonga Music Awards, Speli Music Awards, Limpopo International Film Festival, hosted by the Film Office and usually partners with DSAC during Mapungubia Arts Festival, resuscitation of the Film Office, Limpopo Fashion Week and Limpopo Fashion Weekend for plus-size models, Timara Art Gallery for visual arts, craft and fine art, comedy session with the entourage of Mashabela Khalane as a visual comedy platform that can be recorded and accessible on government website to provide entertainment angle on the platform. Poetry session hosted visually and select one theater group from all 5 districts and record their theater group to be streamed on DSAC website. Also to select one traditional dance group from all 5 districts and record their group performance and stream it on DSAC website. Secondly, the department will host a visual workshops in partnership with relevant, qualified and active companies, individuals and groups on music, theater, poetry, film, dance, both traditional and contemporary, fashion, and key to all workshops on compliance issues. And key to all workshops on compliance issues, as our artists struggle to even receive relief funds due to compliance issues. And when it coming to compliance, we intend to train them on how to do your SARS, how to register a company on CIPC, how to register your music on relevant platforms for revenue streams, e.g. Sambro, Capasso, RISA, etc. How to copyright your work of art to avoid losing your intellectual property, how to source funds for their projects, how to access different kinds of funding platforms. Activity log will focus on these key areas. Support artists through proposals that are content and meeting DSAC development and promotion of artist mandate. Support annual events hosted by outside stakeholders. Provide visual platforms through partnership on art field, music, fashion, film, poetry, theater, comedy, dance, and visual arts. Copy proudly South Africa method of creating access to markets for our artists, or partnering with Proudly South Africa for assisting our artists to access markets and sell their products digitally online for artists to showcase their works linked to social media platforms, but hosted by DSAC website. That was the answer to question 4 Honorable Chair. Question 6. The question reads as follows. The report indicates that the department has session agreements in place to assist contractors with cash flow difficulties. The department should provide a detailed report with regard to these session agreements. And the report is tabled as follows. In terms of the Mabalani Library, the work that has been seeded in that library is the aluminium windows and shop front. And the stationery, the session holder is glass and aluminium specialist, and the session amount is 379,000 and 132 has been paid so far. Another work within that Mabalani library is the clear VU fencing. And the session holder there is C&J Africa Group, and the value of the work seeded is 359,000, and what has been paid so far is 346,000. And in terms of the furniture, the session holder there is Reliable Business Training Consultants, and the value of the session is 936,000, and nothing has been paid so far, and the comment is that it will be done to be installed once the shop front is fitted. In the case of Siliting Library, the work that has been seeded is in relation to still water tank, and the session holder is Structure Technology, and the value of the session is 307, and what has been paid is 307. And the next library is Mulamula Library, and what was seeded there is the steel structure, and the session holder was Lipompo Structures, and the value of the session was 1,419,000, and what has been paid so far is 1,419,000. That is the information in relation to the sessions, in relation to the 3 libraries, Honorable Chair and members. The last question was question 6, which read as follows. How will the backlog be addressed since indigenous games were suspended or cancelled? And the response is as follows. The indigenous games fall within the recreation promotion sub-program in program 4. These games are recreational in nature and encompasses the cultural aspects with a purpose of preserving and promoting our diverse culture in the country. The codes of indigenous games are as follows. That is Murabaraba, Koko, Kati, Jackskey, Dristokis, Diweke, Nchuva, Diketo, and the department will be hosting indigenous games in all 5 districts in the 9 codes mentioned above on the 4th of September as we have passed. Yes, the games were hosted, and the provincial indigenous games will be hosted on the 11th of September, and we're looking forward towards hosting those games, and the hosting of the games will address the backlog in recreation. Thanks very much, Honorable Chair. That is the report in a nutshell. Yeah, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, HOD. We thank you for briefing us. Let me go straight to item number 7, or maybe the Honorable MEC wants to add something. I don't know. Honorable MEC, do you want to add something?
No, Chairperson, the HOD has responded accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to item number 7, which is questions and comments by the honorable members. Honorable members? The time is yours now. Honorable members. Honorable Mhlala, I can see that you have raised your hand.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings once more.
Okay.
I've got I've got a question on 2.1.5 and 2.1.6. I just need to understand on the targets as per the APP and the actual output. How do we target, for instance, 120 people when we know the COVID regulations as the reasons for deviation is the COVID-19 restrictions? Why did you not just project according to the regulations? And the second one, I've coupled 2.1.5 and 2.1.6 because the response I think will be the same.
Okay.
And also on 3.1.3 on the provincial theatre, because there it says reasons for deviation, no planned target for the quarter. So I'm worried if that theatre construction was presented in the 2020 State of the Province address, but now we're going to have 3 months that we are not doing anything to it. So I'd just like to know how best is it that we are going to be able to finish this project in time. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members. Okay, I've got a question to the department on budget. During the first quarter, the department spent 20% instead of 25%. And then they deviated, there was a deviation of 5%. And as a result of it resulted into the moratorium placed on filling of the positions. What is the department, or let me say, when is the department lifting the moratorium? Maybe if they can give us that answer. And then on 5.1.11, the twinning agreement, if the department can clarify to us about this twinning agreement, maybe to tell us which countries are you twinning with, because I just heard the HOD saying we have managed to have a meeting with the locals, what. But I just want to know if they have other countries which they want to twin with. And then the third question is about the heritage site, which is at Masisi, called Chitangadzime. I want the department to just brief us about the financial implications and the like. How are you going to assist? I know that somebody responded, but I just want maybe if it can come from you, the HOD. And then, well, I'm covered about the libraries and everything that we have done. But I wanted to know, are you paying them the money which have been left by those who, by the contractors, or is there any budget, maybe which you have taken from, I don't know where, maybe if you can just brief us on that. I'm also happy about the Saturday games which have taken place, because I was going to ask you, how were the games? As we have alluded to, that the games were going to take place on the 4th. So at least I'm answered on that regard. Thank you very much. Honorable members, do you have other questions? Honorable Mate, your hand is recognized.
Thanks, Honorable Chair, and good afternoon to you and other honorable members, together with our MEC and entourage. I've got 2 questions to ask to the department or the MEC. The first one is, it seems like there are many targets in Q1 which were not achieved. So what I want to know is, what are they going to do with these remaining targets that were not achieved? And what impact does it have in the department? Because each and every quarter has its own set targets. And again, I want to know, when you don't achieve, or what is the impact of this failure to the departmental budget? Because if you set a target, it means you understand that you are going to make sure that you achieve those targets. While we understand that there is this issue of COVID, because we are not going to allow each and everything. If the department is failing to do something, then we say it's because of COVID. It's because of COVID, because we are, until now, we are not told when is this COVID going to come to an end. So I want to check the impact of this unfinished or achieved targets on the budget of the department, and what are they going to do with the remaining unachieved targets. And the next one is on the issue of the new date for the handing over of libraries. Because when looking at the report, there's a problem with Mabalani Library. During our site visit, the only library that was lagging behind as far as construction was concerned was Mulamula. But today Mulamula is at 77, while Mabalani is behind. So I want the department to brief us about what is happening in Mulamula, because it seems there's no progress in that area. So I want to know what is the problem. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mate. Any other questions from honorable members? Honorable Chair. Okay, before Honorable Chair. I'm giving you a chance.
This issue of Sikukune and Mopane, which are lagging behind as far as participating in events are concerned. So I want to know what causes this lagging behind, because we once took a decision that we must rotate all the events to all these districts. But to me, Mopane and Sikukune are not being considered, I'm sure. So I want to know what is the reason behind.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mate. Honorable Chair, I saw your hand.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Let me appreciate the response from the department in relation to various issues that I think we have touched the committee thus far. And the department, I think, is doing its job, because most of the questions that we've posed have been answered accordingly. But I think for this department, Honorable Chairperson, to sustain the clean audit outcome, is for it to focus much on the what do you call, on the asset management, because at some stages the department was planning to have what you call the asset verification on a quarterly basis through what you call radio frequency identification system. And asset management is one of those key factors that contributes towards sustainability of qualified and unqualified audit opinion. And for this department to move out of unqualified to clean audit is for it in terms of the recommendation from the Auditor General and some reflection we've made, but also what the Standing Committee on Public Account have deliberated on, that they need to focus much on the management of assets of this particular department. So we want to check from the department as to did the department in actual fact complied with what it has actually said in the previous financial year, that they will on a quarterly basis monitor their progress in terms of asset management. Whether are they still in that particular plan? Are they still implementing what in actual fact they've indicated in the previous financial year? But over and above, I think I raise it with the researcher. Of course, the researcher obviously is going to conduct the work on our behalf. But I'm very worried, which I think the department maybe can give us some clarity. They can give us some clarity with regard to the stadiums, which have been built all over the province. We want to check, even if they are not accurate or they are accurate in terms of the number of the stadiums which were built in our province, because as I've already indicated, Chairperson, that when I was driving around the province, we had some challenges of stadiums which I think are a white elephant. Apparently the department, I think they've built those stadiums, but of course with a good intention that they want to help the community, they want to bring sports development to the community. But at the ultimate end, those stadiums are not utilized effectively, and which I think was a serious concern to some of us. And want to check with the department as to how many which I think they were being built, which ones that been completed, the same way in which I think we're building on libraries. So if they can give us that information, we will be satisfied. We are very much worried because when you move around, it's a problem. It shows that these stadiums are not utilized. As to what are the problems, why they are not utilized, we are not so sure. Maybe if the department can privilege us with that particular information so as to know exactly whether these stadiums were being built by our department and how many of those that we built, how many which were not completed, how many which were built and the contractors, maybe they've run away, because it might happen. So can maybe the department privilege us with that particular information? Thanks very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members. Do we still have any questions? Honorable members, if we don't have, I'm going to ask Honorable MEC to respond to the questions that honorable members have asked. Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members, for these questions that you have posed unto us. And I believe the team that is here from the department is more than ready to can share information with members concerning all the questions and other comments made by honorable members. I'll then come in later where I think I need to emphasize on certain issues. But for now, Chair, allow me to hand over to our acting HOD together with his team to respond in detail to all the questions as raised by honorable members. Thanks.
Okay, they may go on.
Thanks through you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Thanks, Honorable MEC and colleagues. The first question was in relation to item 215 and 216 when it comes to targeting as to why do we target more when we know there is COVID and we may not achieve those kind of targets. The difficulty, Honorable Chair, is that it depends on the level on which we are, and nobody can guess with absolute certainty that the next level, maybe the infection will be high or not high. We just keep the hope that the situation will be better and we will be able to do what we are known to be best at. Unfortunately, with that hope, we end up not achieving what we intended to achieve. But we couldn't really adjust our APP in the sense that if the situation changes completely, like now when the vaccination continues, we have seen the trends that the rate of infection is going down. We don't know whether the virus may mutate and come up with another fourth wave, but we hope that the situation will be better. We'll be in a position to do what we are known to be doing best. It's just unfortunate, Chairperson, that's the nature. We are also in a predicament. We can't estimate with certainty. The next question, wherever I need some assistance, I will request my colleagues to come in. It's in relation to the construction of a theater where there is no target for the first quarter. And the question is, how are you going to meet the intended completion date when you don't target anything per quarter to show some progress? And the issue here is that the construction itself is with the Department of Public Works. The planning, designs, and the other process is residing with the municipality where they need to demarcate the land, but we know where the place is. And they still have to pass the resolutions identifying and donating the land itself. Those processes are going on, Honorable Chair. Public Works has appointed professionals. They're busy with the designs and we are making progress, but none of those activities happens in our department. Hence, there are no specific milestones targeted in our APP, but because we're doing it through Public Works, that process is moving on, and we are definitely sure that come February 2024, a theater will be delivered in the province. The third question, but in relation to the theater response, if Mr. Mijaji want to add something, he may come in when I complete. The third question was in relation to the expenditure, which at the end of the first quarter was sitting at 20%, and our reasons was to say the moratorium on filling of positions, and the question is when will the moratorium be uplifted so that you can be in a position to spend? Fortunately, after the end of the first quarter, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, we did receive a correspondence from Treasury which allowed us only to appoint personnel in relation to those posts which are funded through the conditional grant. And that is what we intend doing. But in relation to equitable share, we don't have any underspending. The expenditure is within the norm, but these only affect the conditional grant and also the progress in relation with the construction of libraries that is funded through the conditional grant itself. We hope that the situation will improve in the coming 2 quarters, because we will be in a position to appoint, though the posts will be very few, but those who are funded out of a conditional grant will make it possible for us to improve on our expenditure norms when it comes to the end of the 2nd quarter. The issue of the twinning program as to between which country are you twinning with? Yes, I think this question also came in our previous interaction with the Honorable Committee, and the government which we are twinning with is Mexico, and there is a big tree in Mexico called the Tule tree, and there is also a big tree here in Limpopo called the Baobab tree, which is located around Avembe district. And the challenge there was that the local council did not, the traditional leader was challenging us as to the ownership of that particular land where that tree is located. And we negotiated through the Premier's office, and we are in agreement. Hence, the twinning agreement will be signed towards the end of this 2nd quarter with the Mexico, The next question was in relation to the heritage site at Masisi called Shitsangadzimeni, as to what is going to happen there. The current process, Chairperson, is that we have been funded through the National Heritage Council to do a feasibility study in order to preserve those areas. There are 3 sites in the province, which is Shitsangadzimeni, Tate, and also University of the North. We have appointed service providers. They've almost completed the feasibility study. We will be going to the next stage, but something is going to be done in relation to Shitsangadzimeni to be recognized as a heritage site, and for the impact which it had during the struggle. So funding will be sourced from national, and national it's busy with that particular project. Something is going to happen. The next question was in relation to libraries. As to these, I think it was in relation to the subcontracting, to say, are these people paid by the money left by these contractors? The situation, Chairperson, is that the main contractor hasn't been dismissed. The main contractor still remains contracted, but the main contractor has been allowed to subcontract so that they can fast track the construction process. So a subcontractor comes in, do certain portion in that construction, whilst the main contractor still remains in service and to complete the other work. The next question, it was in relation to the achievement of targets as to, it seems as if so many targets are not achieved, were not achieved, and what is going to happen to the budget that was not utilized. Yes, that's why, honorable members, we are also reviewing our targets and coming up with plans to achieve those which we did not achieve. Most of our targets are funded out of the conditional grants, be it from sports, be it from library and archives, and the impact of it is that if we can't do anything, we can't achieve whatever we planned to achieve due to these COVID-19 restrictions. We unfortunately, we will lose that particular budget. But in many instances, we have reprioritized and where we can procure and provide, like attire and provision of equipment, we do that instead of embarking on certain activities which were not allowed in terms of the COVID-19. We're trying our level best to be very creative so that come the end of the financial year, we really don't disadvantage the province by losing those monies. But we are always on our toes, looking at alternative method to try and deliver what we couldn't deliver during the normal processes. The next question was in relation to the new dates for the handing over of libraries, I think in relation to the completion of the libraries. Unfortunately, when I presented, I missed one slide. In terms of Sliting and the other library, we are almost, they have reached practical completion. It's only 2 libraries. Yeah, Sliting Library and Runnymede have reached practical completion on the end of July and the end of August. And it's only in relation to Malamulele and Mavalani Library. The meeting that we held with IDT, they did promise that the 2 libraries will still be delivered in this current financial year. So we just hope that they will indeed meet that commitment. But we have seen an improvement in terms of what they do, and that makes us believe that indeed they should be in a position to complete those 2 libraries. But Mr. Mujaji can come in just to confirm when I finish. Excuse me. Another question was in relation to events that were not taking place between Sekhukhune and Mopani. That makes these 2 districts to lag behind. This one, I will request my colleagues to assist me. I don't really understand which event the question relates to, but I will ask the district coordination chief director if she knows something to assist also, and Mr. Muatsi if he's aware of events which are currently not taking place in other districts and not regularly undertaken within Sekhukhune and Mopani. The next question relates to the last honorable member who indicated that a clean audit will be achieved if we focused on asset management and really implement what we have promised that we will do. One of our indicators indicates that asset verification will be done quarterly. And in the first quarter, we did achieve that target to show that we are serious about putting our house in order. Asset verification, it's done, honorable members, on quarterly basis. And currently in the department, we don't seem to have challenges in relation to assets. That has been a challenge in the past since we implemented the RFID system, where we put in electronic tags in all our library materials so that the scanners can assist us in reading those tags. We have seen a huge improvement, and it is our hope and belief, because currently we have improved drastically. Fortunately, maybe I will leave to the MEC, but I haven't briefed the MEC about our unqualified audit opinion, which we have achieved in the year 2021-2022. Sorry for that, Honorable MEC, but is the report which we have just received, and it shows improvement in our audit outcome. It's just that the auditors have just raised the bar. Had they used the same standards they have used in the previous financial year, we should have received a clean audit. Ourselves, we believe that we have arrived. It's just that we just need a landing strip for the Auditor General to show us that yes, indeed, you can land, you have arrived. We have improved drastically. Asset management is no longer a nightmare in the department. We seem to have arrested that kind of a delinquent which was troubling us. The issue of the number of stadiums, I will leave this comment to the Chief Director, District Coordination, but in most cases, stadiums are done through municipalities. Us as the department, we only assist them to apply for the grant through the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. But actually, it's done through the municipalities, and it is the municipalities who controls these stadiums. Hence, in certain instances, the MEC would intervene and negotiate on behalf of clubs for the municipality to give concession to the clubs for the utilization of the stadiums, like the Polokwane stadiums. I know that Polokwane City, Baroka, they were not paying for the utilization of that particular stadiums, so that it shouldn't become a white elephant. But that comment, I'll leave it to my colleague Memo Khonyana to give more meat on that one. And also, yeah, Memo Khonyana, can you come in to address that particular issue, and also those events which try to evade Mopani and Skukune, give assurance to the honorable members that we will not be selective in our rendering of services. And also, Mujaji, if you have got more information or confirm that indeed Mulamula and Mabalani will be completed in the year under review. That will be my comment, Honorable Chair and Honorable MEC. Before MEC, you could come in. Mem Khonyana, can you come in? And also Mr. Mwatsi to come in and talk to the heritage, specifically which Tangadzimeni, what is the plan, so that the honorable members can have a peace of mind and be assured that we're doing something. And also the training program, Memo Khonyan, if you can give more meat, I know very much that you are very passionate about that, and you can come in and give assurance to the honorable members that despite the COVID-19, every day we are down and with all the hands on the deck to really push that the department deliver what we have promised to deliver. Thanks.
Thank you very much. the acting HOD, Mr. Mushwana, the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and the Honorable MEC. Acting HOD, I will just pick up from where you left off in relation to the sport infrastructure construction in the province. And thank you very much, Acting HOD. You've actually said a mouthful. Indeed, the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture at the provincial level is not responsible for the construction of the sport infrastructure stadium, more so because we do not have funding for the construction of sport infrastructure. The funding that we receive from national is only meant to implement the programs and activities in the Chief Directorate of Sport and Recreation. But what we do, which the HOD has spoken about, is that we get into a partnership with the National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. We assist municipalities to apply for funding, which rests in the National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture for the construction of the stadiums or multi-purpose sport facilities that they would have identified or that they want to upgrade or that are there in their IDPs. So we do more of a facilitation role or a coordination role in terms of assisting them to advocate for those funds. And when those funds are actually approved by the National Sport and Arts and Culture, they are then transferred directly to the municipalities, and the municipalities will then start implementing and appointing contractors and constructing those stadiums. But what we do is that we also play an oversight role, checking the progress of the construction of the stadium and advising the municipalities. We actually even hold quarterly meetings with those municipalities. And currently, we have about 12 stadiums that were built through this special MIG that they're applying from the National Sport, Arts and Culture. We've got 4 in Capricorn, Mopani 2, Waterberg is 2, Sekhukhune 3, and Vembe 2. I think there are 13. HOD, I think it will be justice also just to package a report in our next meeting, just to give the members the names of those sport infrastructure. I can even mention one that we've got, one that that they're actually constructing in Polokwane, which is called a softball diamond, which worth 30 million. We assisted Polokwane municipality to advocate for that funding. So it's going to be constructed in Polokwane. It has already been approved, and plans are already underway. And by next year, we'll be having a softball diamond pitch that will actually host our softball matches in Polokwane. And there are a number of them that in that report, they will be very much detailed. The second matter is in relation to events or programs that are being hosted in other districts, but it seems as if Mopani and Sekhukhune are not actually coming right in terms of participating or in terms of attendance. We have not really seen that shortcoming, especially in the area of sport and recreation, more so that we are also responsible to actually look into this, into equal participation of districts. In actual fact, Mopani is the one that it's having more numbers, and in terms of events or programs, we have shaped them in such a way that they take place in all our 5 districts. I'll just mention 1 or 2 or 3 targets. For example, the target of school sport, it will be school sport leagues that are hosted in all the 5 districts in the province. When we do also sport development leagues, they are done in all the 5 districts in the province, and every district have their fair share of participation. I'm not so sure, Chairperson, where maybe the shortcoming was seen, and if it was seen in that area, I think we'll really attend to it. But even now, when we reported about the number of organized events in all the districts, that 2,000 number is actually being consolidated from the 5 districts. We don't really have a serious challenge, unless maybe because it's COVID. It was COVID in the first quarter. You would have seen that, but we are not really having a challenge. The last in recreation, you might have also realized that the indigenous games took place in all the 5 districts. So this weekend, one will be hosting the provincial indigenous games. We'll be taking athletes from all the 5 districts. The last one that the HOD requested us to just flag on it, which he spoke very well about it. I was actually shocked that he knows more about this project. He's quite right. We are entering into a memorandum of agreement between Mexico, a province called Oaxaca, where they've got a tule tree, and in our district in Bembe, we've got a big tree. So these trees are similar in their nature. When you look at tule tree, even if you can Google it, it's more, like the big tree. And the Mexico province, the Mexico country of the Oaxaca, took an interest in actually twinning with us, looking at the similarities of the trees and looking at how they can contribute to the heritage tourism in this province. Again, they also looked into an area of how can we do cultural exchange programs that Mexico can actually send their people to come to the province and learn more about the tree. And we can also go to Mexico, our people, especially from Bembe, that we can take our communities to go and learn more about how do they preserve the tule tree. So there are so much more economic benefits that we're actually looking at, that when you look at baobab tree, is actually a house in itself when you enter. How do we preserve it? How do we make sure that we host cultural events there? And how do we make sure that it sells not only nationally, but also internationally? So the interest is actually coming from there. So HOD is quite right that we're having just a not so much of an agreement with the Botobele, the Hoshi Chikudamalema, in that area that the trust was actually not having some differences with the Hoshi, that in terms of ownership, how then are we how are we taking forward? So HOD is quite right. We've resolved that matter. We also held a meeting on the 27th of August with DECO nationally, and the memorandum of understanding will be signed on the 24th of September. They are earmarking that date, but they're still going to send us an official communication that will be briefing the Honorable MEC and the HOD accordingly if that date has been confirmed. But all differences have been settled, so the province is ready to sign that MOU. Thank you so much, HOD and Honorable Chairperson. I think we have addressed the 3 areas. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, KV. Can Mujaji, can you assist us by commenting on the completion date of those 2 libraries, and also Mike come in to address Chitangazimeni issues?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable MEC members, my colleagues. With regards to, I think, HOD, you've captured it aptly. National assisted with funding for development of feasibility studies for the 3 sites, which is Chata, Chinangatimeni, and University of Limpopo. Now, each site was given an allocation of about 500,000 rands to do the feasibility study. We passed that stage now. What we're doing, what the service providers are doing, is to polish up and close the gaps on the feasibility studies, where all the provinces, the 9 provinces, ourselves included, have been given a similar task, and they are currently presenting for approval by national. And once that is done, the feasibility studies are approved. We then go into phase 2, which is the construction of the development of the Chitangazimeni area, and also upgraded Chate. As you know, University of Limpopo already has the infrastructure in place. So we are going to have to wait for national. Once they've approved that thing and give us that. But it's also at Chitangazimeni, where we're partnering with the Department of Defense and Military Veterans, where they also want to put a wall of remembrance for all their fallen combatants in the area. Currently, as we speak, Honorable MEC and Chairperson, members and HOD, absolutely nothing at Chitangatimeni. It's just fallen land. You'll see a river there, a number of trees, but there's nothing. The site is known, and you can only be guided by the people who are directly involved in the skirmishes there. So once everything is put in place and the feasibility study has been approved, then we will start with the development, which could happen probably in the next financial year. I think that covers it, HOD, Honorable MEC, Chairperson, members, and my colleagues. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mike. Thanks very much, Mike. Is Mjaji available? Can you comment on the two libraries?
Thanks, HOD. Good day, honorable members, honorable chairperson, and colleagues. Yes, I will start with the progress on the theatre. Yes, the HOD's progress was on point. Key deliverables there are for this current financial year are the conclusion of the planning and design phase and the start of construction. On that one, currently PSPs, as the HOD has captured, are currently busy with the preparation of bills of quantities, drawings, and tender documents. So progress is on track. The program which we'll share with honorable members shows that a contractor will be appointed in February. The minor worry there just relates to the budget. As Public Works have shown, they've given us cash flow projections. Expenditure on the 20 million allocated will only be realized in the third and fourth quarter. However, as a department, we've already started engagements with the provincial treasury. In the morning today, we had bilaterals around revenue enhancement. We already sensitized them that there's likelihood that maybe we might not utilize the budget fully, but also indicated that there's another project that is heating up. Honorable members, maybe when they do site visits, maybe they can consider visiting Skumansdal Museum, where we're upgrading there. The contractor is performing exceptionally well. The budget that we allocated is around 18.5. To date, honorable members, I can report we've spent around 12 million, which translates to around 67%. So there's highly likelihood that around November we'll utilize all the budget. But as I indicated, we've already indicated to Treasury that we'll make a submission during adjustment period where we'll propose to reprioritize, maybe move money from poor performing projects to this one that is heating up. There was also a progress sought on the handing over of libraries, where honorable members wanted to know what's happening at Mola Mola and Mabalani. Honorable members will remember Mola Mola is a volatile area. If I can take honorable members back, we appointed the PSPs on that project through the intervention of the honorable MEC. We went with her to the site where we were able to appoint the PSPs. It's unfortunate there's still continual disruptions from the community, also from the workers there. As recent as May, the workers there were on strike for the whole month. However, it can be noted that there's been engagement with the team there through the social facilitating section of the IDT. We have been able to move forward, although at a slow pace, but we are comforted by the contractor's willingness to continue with the project despite these challenges. At Mabalani Library, there were in-house issues where the main contractor's project manager resigned. That disrupted progress. Also, they were able to intervene together with the team. Progress is on track. They've since revised completion dates for Mabalani. The revised completion date is around November this year, and for Mola Mola Library is around December. Thanks, HOD and honorable members.
Thanks, Kingsley. Over to you, MEC.
Thank you, HOD and colleagues, for having responded to the questions. But HOD, I wanted us to emphasize on the issue of the moratorium, that That was not the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture's decision. It was an EXCO decision after having realized that in other departments you have got a bloated COE. Let's say, for instance, chairperson will then recall that the premier was even on media houses trying to share the frustration the provincial government is having with regard to these issues. Health has had a bloated COE, also followed by education and other departments. But EXCO decided not to single out those few departments, but decided to introduce a moratorium on the filling of all the positions so that we can then embark on a process to review our organizational structures so that when DPSA approves the process of reviewal of those structures, we can then come back and uplift the moratorium. So, Chairperson, the issue now where we are as the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, you know very well that we have lost several directors in the department. Others have succumbed to COVID and others have left the planet due to issues of natural causes. And we are struggling. I was even talking with the HOD and the CFO the other day to say we need to go back to EXCO and Treasury and also put a compelling case to say we are unable to function as the department because these positions that are vacant are critical for the functionality of the department. And we are working towards really putting together that case to Treasury for them to submit to EXCO to uplift that moratorium whilst we await DPSA to approve our structure so that we can fill those positions, Chairperson, and we can be able to stabilize at the level of our administration. On the issue of the twinning agreements, I think the HOD together with the chief directors, they've done justice. But safe to say, Chairperson, that we were approached by Mexico as a province of Limpopo after having realized that, in the whole continent and in the whole globe, what you come across often is the twinning of cities and towns. So Mexico decided to come with this approach that is so unique, where they've realized that the province of Limpopo, together with the province of Oaxaca in Mexico, have got some form of heritage similarities in the form of the trees that exist in these two provinces. So we are also looking forward, Chairperson and members, to engage with other provinces, maybe in Asia, where we have got issues where we must embark on cultural exchange programs with those provinces and cities. We'll have to do that. We are open for any engagements so that we can be able to boost our tourism attractions as a province, because the aim of this twinning agreement is to put Limpopo province at that level of development of tourism at the international level. So we are really looking forward to any proposal that will come from honorable members, where they will guide us on how to expedite and also expand our tourism attraction facilities as a province for the growth and the development of our economy. I think that will really be appreciated. Chair, I think on the other issues of the libraries, I believe HOD will have to really stick to the timelines that we have set for ourselves. These libraries, we have promised them to our communities. Where we have challenges in Mola Mola, where Mr. Mujaji has shared with us those challenges, let's move swiftly towards addressing those challenges where employees have embarked on a protest, but the library needs to be handed over to our communities. If it comes to a push HOD, I'll have to be available and we go back to Mola Mola and address those unrests that are taking place there, to indicate to them that the development of a library has got nothing to do with the chieftaincy that is under dispute in that area, because that is meant for the development of their children academically. They need to allow the construction work of that library to proceed without any hindrance. But Chair, I think we have done justice to the questions as posed, and we are handing over back to your own selves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Let me go back to the honorable members. Maybe they just want to say something. If they're satisfied, then we can move on. Honorable members?
On my side, I'm fine, Honorable Chairperson.
I didn't see your hand, I'm sorry. Okay, Honorable Chair. Are you satisfied? Okay, let's move on. I think, honorable members, I see the hand of Honorable Mate. Honorable Mate.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Mine is about Sekhukhune and Mopane. I'm sure this information is because of their incompleteness of their attendance register of all the people that are taking part in the sporting and recreational events. So their registers shows that Mopane and Sekhukhune, most of the people are not covered in those registers. That's why I'm saying it seems like Mopane and Sekhukhune are lagging behind on this event. Not to say that they're not taking part. If they were there taking part, then it means they were not filling the registers. So that's what I asked that question. Why is Mopane and Sekhukhune lagging behind on these events? It's about sport and recreational events. So their registers are not complete. People from Sekhukhune and Mopane are not visible in those registers. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mate. It is true that the department must make it a point that all the regions are registered. Otherwise, we are going to look at it as if, or we are going to look at it like the other regions are not covered. So the attendance register is very much important. Thank you, honorable members. I think we are done, and I'm going to ask for coordinator for announcement, item number 5.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. I do not have any announcements. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we can adjourn, I just want to thank honorable members who have participated and attended this meeting. Honorable MEC, thank you so much. You did it again, and the HOD, your department, for briefing us very well. And just keep it up. We hope that where you didn't make it, you will try to push very hard in order to reach your goals, and in order again to reach your targets. I just heard Honorable Mate saying that COVID-19, hey, it's like a civil, because I also heard that it is serious, and it's COVID-19 fourth wave is coming, so we need to be ready, and then we need to protect ourselves against that. It is called C1.2.1. I call it, it is a remix of COVID-19, as we had that Delta, which nearly killed everybody in this world. So I called it C1.2.1 remix of COVID. Hey, this thing is very serious. It's disturbing us to do our task. It's also, disturbing us as you find that all the members are sick and the like, but we need to be careful about that. About the Chitangadzimene, I would like to advise the department to say, please, when you appoint the contract for feasibility study, try to appoint people who know, and then so that we may avoid what happened at Mavalan. What happened, those graves that were dug. So you find that when the feasibility study is not done well, we find those challenges. I'm happy about this twinning agreement of Mexico, which is big tree. So we're having a big tree in Limpopo, in Bembe, the baobab tree. I hope it goes well. I don't know as to whether after twinning you'll be visiting Mexico physically. If maybe you'll be visiting, I hope that you also invite us. And this one of asset management, it's very, very much critical. So the department, I'm happy because you are on that. And of course, as the HOD said, you have arrived. So please just, or at least we, at the end of the day, we get what we want, the clean audit. Without wasting time, it has been a long day, and thank you very much again for giving us, what we wanted as the portfolio committee. This meeting is officially adjourned. Bye-bye, honorable members.
Bye-bye, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Chairperson.
Chairperson.
And all the
Bye, Chairperson.
bye.
And take care of your corona. I'll take care of mine.
Hey, you know what? Really kills us. At least I've recovered.